History remembers the headlines. We find the bylines. This is the unsung. When you hear the name Hedy Lamarr, what comes to mind? For most people, it's the face of a classic film star, a vision of ethereal beauty from Hollywood's golden age. The press of her time gave her a headline: the most beautiful woman in the world. It's a powerful label, but it's also a box. Because behind that famous headline was a mind that engineered our future. During the darkest days of World War II, while the world saw only a glamorous actress on the silver screen, Hedy Lamarr was co-inventing a revolutionary technology, one that would lay the groundwork for Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and GPS. It's the technology that connects us, guides us, and entertains us every single day. So how did a woman in her unique position, a global movie star, get erased from the story of modern communication? How was her genius so completely overlooked? To understand the inventor, we first need to meet the person behind the persona. She was born Hedwig Kiesler in Vienna, Austria, in 1914 to an affluent Jewish family. From her earliest days, she was insatiably curious. Her father, a bank director, would take her on long walks, explaining the inner workings of everything from streetcars to printing presses. This sparked a fascination with technology. While other children played with dolls, young Hedwig was taking apart her music box and meticulously reassembling it, just to understand how the melody was made. This innate curiosity and analytical mind would become her defining, yet hidden, trait. Her life took a dramatic turn when, at just 18, she married a wealthy Austrian arms manufacturer named Friedrich Mandl. The marriage was a golden cage. Mandl was controlling and possessive, treating her more like a trophy than a wife. But he was also deeply involved in military technology, supplying weapons to the Nazi and fascist regimes of Europe. At lavish dinner parties, Hedy was forced to sit silently as her husband and his powerful guests discussed the technical details of guided torpedoes, radio jamming, and remote-controlled weaponry. They saw her as a beautiful ornament, incapable of understanding their complex conversations. They were wrong. She was listening, she was learning, and she was horrified by what she heard. Desperate to escape, Lamarr planned a daring getaway. In one version of the story, she drugged her maid and slipped out of her own home disguised in the maid's uniform, carrying only a small bag of jewels. She fled to Paris, then London, and finally, Hollywood. There, the head of MGM, Louis B. Mayer, saw her star potential. He renamed her Hedy Lamarr and marketed her as a glamorous, exotic European beauty. She was an instant sensation. Films like Algiers and Samson and Delilah cemented her status as a top-tier movie star. The studio system typecast her, pushing her into roles as a seductive, mysterious foreigner. On-screen, she was a femme fatale. But off-screen, her mind was still buzzing with the technical secrets she'd overheard at those dinner parties. In her Hollywood home, she set up an invention table, a private space where she could trade the script for a drafting board. While the world was at war, Hedy Lamarr wasn't just acting. She was engineering, driven by a desire to help the Allied forces defeat the very people her ex-husband had armed. This brings us to her pivotal contribution. Lamarr was acutely aware of a critical vulnerability in the Allied naval strategy. Their radio-controlled torpedoes, a cutting-edge weapon, had a fatal flaw. The radio signal that guided them was broadcast on a single, fixed frequency. This made it incredibly easy for Nazi submarines to locate that frequency, jam it with a powerful signal of their own, and send the torpedo veering off course. The weapon was rendered useless. Lamarr believed she had a solution, a way to create an unjammable guidance system. But she needed help with the mechanics. Through a mutual friend, she was introduced to an unlikely collaborator, George Antheil, a fellow European émigré known as the bad boy of music. He was an avant-garde composer famous for his wild, experimental pieces, particularly his Ballet Mécanique, which synchronized 16-player pianos. During one of their conversations, Lamarr explained her idea for making a radio signal hop randomly between frequencies. As they talked, Antheil had a eureka moment. He realized that the same mechanism used to synchronize his player pianos, a perforated paper roll, could be used to synchronize a transmitter and a receiver. Their invention, which they called the secret communication system, was elegant in its brilliance. Imagine a player piano roll, but instead of notes, the punch holes dictate radio frequencies. They designed a system where a small, synchronized paper roll would be placed in both the torpedo and the ship that launched it. As the rolls turned, they would simultaneously guide the transmitter and the receiver to jump between 88 different frequencies, the same number of keys on a piano, in a predetermined but seemingly random sequence. For an enemy trying to jam the signal, it would be like trying to catch a ghost. By the time they found one frequency, the signal would have already hopped to another. It was a revolutionary concept we now call frequency hopping spread spectrum. In 1942, they were granted U.S. patent number 2,292,387. Filled with patriotic fervor, Lamarr offered her invention to the U.S. Navy. Their response was not just dismissive, it was patronizing. The naval officers couldn't see past her famous face. They reportedly told her she could better serve the war effort by using her celebrity status to sell war bonds. She did, raising millions of dollars for the cause. But her invention, her brilliant idea to help save lives and win the war, was shelved and forgotten. Her patent eventually expired and used. So why was Hedy Lamarr's contribution erased from history for so long? The reasons are a frustrating mix of the systemic biases of her time. First and foremost was pervasive gender bias. In the 1940s, the world of science and engineering was an exclusive boys' club. The idea that a woman, especially a Hollywood actress, could produce a work of technical genius was simply incomprehensible to the men in power. The Navy's rejection wasn't about the technology's feasibility. It was a reflection of their inability to see a woman as a serious inventor. Second was the power of Hollywood typecasting. The MGM publicity machine had built an image of Hedy Lamarr as pure glamour and mystique. The press and the public were fed a one-dimensional story. When she did try to talk about her inventions, she was often ignored, or her efforts were trivialized as a cute little hobby. Her beauty became a cage, trapping her public identity and obscuring her intellectual depth. She once famously said, "Any girl can be glamorous. All you have to do is stand still and look stupid." It was a line delivered with a bitter irony she knew all too well. Finally, the simple mechanics of intellectual property worked against her. Because the Navy didn't use her technology, her patent expired in 1959. When the military finally did embrace frequency hopping in the 1960s during the Cuban Missile Crisis, they did so without crediting her or providing any financial compensation. By the time her invention became the foundation for the civilian spread spectrum technologies that power our modern wireless world, Wi-Fi, GPS, and Bluetooth, her legal claim to it was long gone. For decades, she received neither credit nor royalties for the billion-dollar industries she helped create. Recognition came far too late. It wasn't until 2014, 14 years after her death, that she was posthumously inducted into the National Inventors Hall of Fame. Today, thankfully, the story is being corrected. Hedy Lamarr is increasingly celebrated not just as a screen legend, but as a visionary pioneer of wireless technology. Her story is a powerful rebuttal to the tired myth that beauty and brains are mutually exclusive. It serves as a crucial reminder that innovation doesn't just happen in laboratories and universities. It can come from anywhere, sparked by anyone, even from a Hollywood dressing room between takes. Her legacy is embedded in the very fabric of our digital lives. Every time you connect to a Wi-Fi network, pair a Bluetooth speaker, or use your phone's GPS to find your way, you are using a piece of the invisible architecture that Hedy Lamarr helped design. The world is full of unsung heroes, people whose contributions were overlooked because of who they were or where they came from. Who else in popular culture do you think has been unfairly forgotten for their hidden talents or contributions? Share their stories in the comments below. We'd love to hear them. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the Unsung for more stories from the bylines of history.